Over the years, Nigeria is regarded as a major source of transit and destination country for women and children subjected to trafficking in persons, including forced labor as well as forced prostitution. Trafficked Nigerian women and children, especially recruited from rural areas within the country's borders. Now, women and girls for involuntary domestic servitude as well as sexual exploitation, and the boys for forced labor in street vending, domestic servitude, as well as some other forms of labor, really. Now, 4 years into the administration of President Muhammadu Buhari, is Nigeria winning the war on human trafficking? Well, with the many trafficked persons brought back to the country and also traffickers prosecuted. Well, what more? What has been done differently? And what areas can be improved on for greater results? We intend to get answers to these and more on Nigeria Today. My name is Blessing Abu. Welcome to the program. Yes, the program is Nigeria Today, and joining me to take a look at these issues of how far we've done with this issue of trafficking, as well as some other forms that NAPTIP is actually looking into. I'd like to welcome the Director in charge of Research and Program Development with the agency, that is National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking Persons, NAPTIP for short. Mr. Godwin Moka, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
Yes, 4 years we could actually take them back, but because we're trying to give a scorecard for this administration outlook, the fight has been intense, and of course the traffickers too are not relenting. What has the fight against human trafficking been like in the 4 years, and where are we?
Thank you very much. I think that the last 4 years have been very interesting in the fight against human trafficking, as there has been a lot more awareness of the phenomenon. And so many new dimensions have come up in the past 4 years too, concerning human trafficking. Before, it used to be consigned to trafficking for sexual exploitation and maybe child labor. But the last 4 years, the phenomena of trafficking for organ harvests and even for drugs and other forms of crimes have come up, especially with the emergence or entrance of organized crime groups that many of them emanated from what used to be student cults, became involved in human trafficking in the last 4 years. And so it has become a very, very highly organized crime that is no longer a pastime for those who just made a mistake. So what has emerged in the last 4 years is that those who are traffickers today are hardened criminals who are making profit from trafficking, and then so it is no longer about I didn't know it was wrong, and that's something that I emerged in the last 4 years because of the awareness that have been created, and also those who are trafficked, many of them, what we now find that there are people from more and more into the hinterland, so there's a little bit of ignorance, there's a little bit of denial. That, oh, it's not my portion. But like I said, it's in the last 4 years, it's been quite exciting because there's been massive awareness creation. A lot of people have also joined the fight against trafficking. And the phenomenon is something that very few people will say they are not aware of.
Okay. So if we have more awareness, especially where you've taken it, how far-reaching are these areas that you have actually taken these messages to? Because I'm trying to take, for instance, what you just told us now, new dimension, there's a greater phenomenon to what the traffickers themselves are engaged in. But your awareness campaign, where and how intense is this for us as a nation?
Let me just say that part of the good thing that's happened to NAPTIP in the last 4 years is the appointment of our current Director General, Nigeria Kadoli, who came in May 2017. And she recognized the importance of awareness creation. She felt that awareness creation was something that needed to be done over and over again, because really, when you talk about communication, most people just look at the mirror, and when they leave the mirror, they forget what they look like. So you need to keep repeating. And so She has worked very hard. She has never rested, going from place to place, from the grassroots. She has engaged right at the grassroots, including town halls, community leaders. She has engaged with local government officials, state government officials. She has gone to the federal level, international. She's everywhere and creating awareness using various types of media. NAPTIP is very active on the social media, all the platforms, as well as on television. Up to recently, we're on this weekly NAPTIP on the Move that came on board in the last 2 years, trying to create awareness about activities of NAPTIP. So in terms of engagement, we've used all kinds of approaches in order to reach people. All kinds of different sets of people have also joined in, including the entertainers, sports people.
So what kind of feedback are you getting? Because I like the fact that you people have taken the same awareness to the social media, and the bulk of the numbers of people who actually want to go into, well, we're just assuming that for the young ones who want to cross the desert to go to wherever, whether they don't know about them or not, or willingly or unwillingly, as the case may be, at least the larger number is on the social media as well. So what kind of feedback are you getting?
Yes, we are reasonably satisfied in terms of the reach, because we've been to some remote corners of this country, and people say, yes, they are aware of human trafficking. They understand the phenomenon. But the truth is that many of them also still get deceived or get caught, because, like I said earlier, they believe it's not their portion. Because what they tell them is that don't worry about what happened to the other person, your own is different. I'm not like that. This house here, I was the one that took the person that built it. You don't have it. So, and many of these people are impressionistic, or they tell them that you are doing hairdressing here. How much do you earn in a month? Don't worry, when you go to where I'm taking you to, in one week, you will earn about 200,000 naira. And the person has stars in their eyes, and so they are ready to take any kind of risk. Bearing in mind that human trafficking is a very highly profitable business. It's estimated that worldwide, every year, human traffickers reap about $150 billion profit. And if you look at the return on investment, if you may call it that, the turnover is more than 30 to 50 times the investment. So you find that it's a business for people. And so while that's why in those days, if you try to educate people this is wrong, they can stop. You can persuade them to change, they can stop. But when for somebody it's a business, it's a matter of survival. So the more you are trying to tell people not to get involved in trafficking, the more the traffickers are coming up with new ideas. So
where lies your greatest concern or challenge as an agency? Because for that individual who is involved in that business, definitely they will do that. Of course. But for our people who need to be taken into consideration.
Yes, the DG has also taken this stand that we need to go to the fundamentals. The question is, why are people so easily vulnerable to the antics of traffickers? And the truth is that there is a loss of sense of value, in the sense that, no, this I cannot do. There's also very weak societal values too, not just the individual values and family values. And there's very little alternative for people. You find that, okay, if today NTA says we have jobs, we want to employ 2,000 people, you have about 300,000 or more applying. And out of that 300,000, it's not that there are people who didn't have jobs, that everybody thinks that he will always get something better. So out of the 300,000, maybe 200,000 already have jobs, but they want something better. So Nigerians think that, oh, I can always get something better than what I have now. That's why it's only of value and your sense of understanding and sophistication that will enable you to say, no, what you are telling me doesn't make too much sense. So we believe that we need to go to the grassroots and change people's behavior and perception. Behavioral change communication is something that NAPTIP is actually emphasizing. About a month ago, the DG launched the Not for Sale program that was in conjunction with UK AIDS. And right now, they have gone from Delta, Edo states, community to community, tell about the value of the human person, that the human person is not a commodity for sale. A few years back, NAPTIP actually launched a priceless campaign, which is about saying the same thing. So the idea is to appeal to people to understand that, see, you are not a commodity. There is no amount of money that should be able to buy you and enslave you, because many of them too don't understand the implications. Like today, the DJ was at the ECOWAS Parliament and presented a graphic picture of what is happening to our girls in Mali, looking at where they stay inside the bush, and where they stay is a place that stray animals, they won't even allow them to stray animals to stay in that place, let alone a human being that left Nigeria. So she asked them, what are you doing in this place? Oh, they told us we were going to Malaysia. They told us we were going to work with Oyibo, and here we are. And they are trapped. So what we're saying is that we need to change people's orientation to understand that you can do well here. If you are doing something, you can do better. Nigeria is not perfect. No nation is perfect. We are not making excuses for failures here and there. But you see, people in other climes, people go to school in order to solve societal problems. And so when people come out from school, they are able to provide solutions to problems around them. Unfortunately, our educational system is such that when people go to school, they come out and become part of the problem. Somebody, a graduate of physics, of all kinds of engineering, will leave because there is no light, there is no water. Meanwhile, that community, that little enclave, we're not, okay, even your family house, you can find a way to provide power, and that becomes less of a problem. But you will run away with your engineering degree and run to some other place that you think is already provided. Whereas the purpose of going to school is actually to provide solutions to societal problems. So we have a serious problem with our curriculum, educational curriculum. I'm happy that of recent there's been some emphasis on people learning things and all that, trying to learn with their hands and be able to. But we need to really, really change our orientation as a people.
Okay, Mr. Moka, when we come back, some of the things that NAPTIP is doing differently, you've just raised aspects of education and some other forms of reorientation, which I believe there are already hands-on experience from at least officers like you who are headquartered at the NAPTIP. And when we come back, because we're going on a break now, we actually sought some views of residents of FCT. What's their thoughts about your activities and whatever it is that people are doing to actually stay put and better their lot. When we return, we'll take a look at that, as well as what next in terms of synergy with other collaborations that you have. You're watching Nigeria Today, and our guest, Mr. Godwin Moka, is Director of Research and Program Development with NAPTIP. We'll be right back as we go to the street now.
I think that is an achievement, because Nigerians now, who are trafficked from these countries on false promises, most of them seeing these people coming and then telling their stories. A lot of people are afraid. It's better you stay in your country and earn as little as you can than all those bogus and most of the times unfulfilled promises. So to me, he has tried.
What I see in this administration in terms of human trafficking, it has drastically reduced. Nobody's talking about going to another country now. We are trying to solve our own problem. So I believe the government has done very good.
I think they have done enough, and they should also improve on what they have done. And the man is really doing well on that. We don't have any reason going overseas to go and do anything. The man is really doing his best.
You need support of an outside country to fight human trafficking. But you will say you're doing it alone. You will try your best. You just try your best.
And achievement is not only what you say. Achievement is what you see. Achievement is what you accomplish, that there will be a record to show for it. In 2010, this is how many people that migrated from Nigeria. This is how many people that were victims of human trafficking. In 2019, has it reduced? Is there any policy in place that will stop or that will make it to be reduced?
It has, to some extent, reduced. Why? Because there's been this awareness people are now aware, they are now conscious that you cannot just move anybody anyhow now. They are conscious of that. That's how I feel. I feel the government has done a good thing around that area.
Welcome back. If you just joined us, you're watching Nigeria Today, and our focus, like you heard from the respondent, they're talking about human trafficking. How far so far for this administration? Yes, NAPTIP is at top of the game, and well, some cherry applause for you there.
Yeah.
But then they still think they could do more.
Yes.
Okay, apart from human trafficking, for those who are trafficked abroad, what other activities? Well, because I know it's not just an international thing. There are aspects of domestic trafficking too that you're engaged in. Tell us more about that and what you're doing differently.
Yes. In the real sense, trafficking, internal trafficking, is bigger.
Really?
Yeah, than trafficking, the international trafficking.
Okay. So why is this?
It's larger because everything that happens abroad happens in Nigeria with regard to trafficking, especially with sexual exploitation. We have brothels all over the country that are peopled with young girls, especially, in fact, in Nigeria you have, in those days, those who are trafficked abroad for sexual exploitation, usually between the ages of 17 to 30. But as at 2008, 2009, we found girls as young as 10, 11 in brothels inside Nigeria. Yes, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. In fact, that was...
Those are children, for goodness sake.
Yes. They were brought from hinterlands. They were told they are coming to go and work in somebody's house or somebody's shops, and they take them straight to brothels. And of course, they had special... They were made to be special offerings to men because they were viewed as virgins and all that. So, and then there's a big, there are big instances of domestic labor in Nigeria. We still have people who have house helps, who they pay their money to third parties, and these are children. And there is also a lot of servitude around the homes and in plantations. In the formal sectors, in industry, you hardly find children. But if you go to the mining sector, you go to plantations, you have lots of children. You go to quarries, you have lots of children. So that's an area that NAPTIP has been working with the Ministry of Labour, with the State's Ministry of Women Affairs, Social Welfare, and others to try and sensitize people about this problem. Incidentally, NAPTIP also administers the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act in the FCT, and usually domestic violence is linked up with trafficking, because most people who are subjected to violence are victims of trafficking, and that has thrown up quite a lot of inhuman treatment that have been meted out to domestics. So what we have done, go to the churches. We have gone to churches, to the mosques, and to schools, to marketplaces, and to communities to try to sensitize them about the need to avoid child labor, to stop maltreating children, and also even there's also forced labor of adults and all that. So it's something that we're engaging with all stakeholders. Okay,
talking about more engagements, how many? Well, for those who want, okay, you've done well, but we've not seen maybe some big names, or for those who have been taken into custody that you have arrested, being prosecuted or convicted for, are there such ones, just as stories?
I think that those who say such things have not encountered NAPTIP. The fear of NAPTIP is the beginning of wisdom, because NAPTIP is one agency that has not compromised when it comes to arresting and prosecuting people. We have had a lot of government officials who have been investigated and arrested, even senior officials. As we speak, we have had about 400 convictions. People have been convicted for trafficking offenses. And if you know how long cases go through our court system, a case can be in court for 3-4 years or more, because people do all they can to frustrate trial. So if you have a conviction about 400 of human beings, if your exhibit is substance drug, money, or something, you can always drag it around. But when it's a human being, it's a different kettle of fish because they can change. Somebody that told you this is what happened, you can go to court and deny you. It has happened to us so many times.
Wow. That could be frustrating.
Of course, and sometimes they're under threat by the traffickers, or they have told them, the family can even tell them, if you go, you're on your own. So you find that for us to even sustain prosecution is quite a lot. It takes a lot.
All right, Mr. Boko, let you delve into the area of rehabilitation for those you eventually get to rescue, bring back, especially for I know in the last couple of years since under the DG, there had been several visits across the continent and even across Europe. For those who were brought back, what kind of rehabilitation do they get? At least to forestall those of them that want to go back if they don't see anything meaningful coming back to.
Yes. The first meeting the DG had with the management, she said she had studied and found out that the loose end in our rehabilitation effort was to ensure that these people were actually rehabilitated. They were actually given something that could sustain them, and they'll be happy to do. NAPTIP has been doing quite a lot on that. We have rescued over 14,000 victims since inception. And we do have 10 shelters all over the country where they are counseled. We have trained social workers, counselors, those who can give them psychosocial support and life skills and all that. They are trained if they want to learn skills or they want to go back to school. They are given that opportunity. And I'm proud to say that there are some people that we rescued from brothels, they say 2008, who are primary school dropouts. And some of them today are graduates.
Oh, nice.
And yes, and under this current DG, 4 of them were employed as NAPTIP staff in the last 1 year.
You must have huge finance to be supporting all of this.
No, what
as an agency?
Yes, we have support apart from our budget. Well, our budget is going up under this government. Our budgets are going quite up, and there are certain things that we never used to get budgeting for before, even for research, which is my area. We never got any money for research in the past.
But today you have.
Oh yes, every year consecutively, in the last 2-3 years, we have had something on research, which has been very, very well utilized, because in the first year we were able to come up with a protocol for identification, safe return, and rehabilitation of victims of trafficking, which was sponsored by the government. And by this June, NAPTIP is releasing the comprehensive country report on human trafficking. All these are sponsored by government. In those days, you will never get that kind of support. So the government is doing its best, but again, it can never be enough because the mandate of NAPTIP is so huge. So we have support from international organizations. We have from the EU, through the EU Trust Fund, and also the periodically you have what is called the
Anyway, these are huge support
through the EU, then through the IOM, the UNODC, UNHCR, the UK government. We have from France, from the US. We have support from various.
So there's a strong support.
Yeah, what they do is support programs. They will not give you money to run. Run your agency.
All right. What about other agencies that, of course, which have similar functions with you? How is the synergy? Because we know sometimes we have other agencies that have overlapping functions.
Yes, we do.
And there's this clash of interest.
And NAPTIP is such an agency that is mandated by its act to collaborate with others. That's why the agency is lean, but very, very effective, because we're still less than 1,000. People can't believe it, even though we're in 10 different offices across the country. But we work very closely with Nigeria Immigration Service, Nigeria Police Force, the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps. We also work with the National Commission for Refugees, Ministry of Women Affairs, Justice, Foreign Affairs, NIA, DSS.
So it's a wide ocean of agencies.
Yes, we are blessed.
So if you have to, just like you, I'm giving the opportunity now to talk to somebody who knows somebody who has been trafficked or about to go on such mindless journey, what would that chat be in 10 seconds?
Yes, we have that. We said to people, if the offer that is being given to you sounds too good to be true, it probably wrong. It is false. If somebody comes to you and says, I'm going to take you abroad, I'm going to give you this kind of life, you ask, why me? What about members of your own family? Why have you skipped them? What did you find in me? And if that person says, oh, you know, I like you, just understand that it is all false. Now, children are being adopted. Like DG said this morning, in Mali, children were found in Mali with school uniform and all that. So what we're saying is that human trafficking is real. And all of us have a duty. If you see something like NTA says, say something, report. Report to NAPTIP. NAPTIP is online. You can reach us by email. You can reach us on our toll-free lines. You can reach us through the media, through any of the security agencies.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Thank you very much. If you see something, say something. Don't shy away from actually reporting aspects of trafficking. At this point, we'd like to say thank you very much, Mr. Godwin Moka, for coming.
Thank you very much.
Of course, you're the Director of Research and Program Development with NAPTIP. Thank you once again.
Thank you so much.
We'd also like to thank you for sharing your time with us. You can actually watch this edition or any other edition of Nigeria Today on YouTube at www.youtube.com, NTA News 24 Hub. Join us again on Monday for another edition of the program. My name is Blessed Nabo. Thank you for watching.